In the R&B system, heartbreak isn't just an emotion, it's Exhibit A. Classic albums once revered as timeless can become cold cases. Two dedicated investigators, T and Reg, reopened these cases as members of an elite squad known as the Special R&B Unit. Their mission? Scrutinize every silky harmony, show-stopping vocal run, and diva anthem to decide if each record still holds up or belongs in the clearance bin. These are their stories.
Welcome to Rap in Order. This is the R&B unit. I'm First Class Reg.
And I'm Taurian B.
We have a special guest joining us today, Chrissy. Thank you for joining us for this very special episode. And we're, like I said in the beginning, this is the R&B unit, so we're doing things a little differently. I and Taurian saw a bracket going around that we had some thoughts on, and we decided to kind of rework it. This bracket was focused on R&B music for females from the 90s to...
Yeah, they had one from 90 to 99, then they had one from 2000 to 2010.
Yeah.
And then from 2011 to currently.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at it and I was like, that 90s one just really caught my attention. It was really unique. And I was just like, yo, I think I could make one better. I was like, it needs to be expanded to 32 albums.
Yeah.
And I just thought like, yo, like in the 90s, like there were a lot of female R&B albums that like didn't get its just due. And then there are some female R&B albums that I think we had tied to nostalgia and maybe like, or like that one hit, but it wasn't as good as we remembered.
Yeah.
Age well.
Yeah. And we do that all the time with rap albums, you know? So like this was pretty cool to address these R&B albums and some hard truths was faced in this process.
Okay. Well, I want to let ladies go first. What were your thoughts on this bracket? How did you feel I did with the matchups for the first round? What were your thoughts?
I hated it. I'm not gonna lie to you. As an R&B princess, I also categorize R&B, so I wouldn't have mixed a lot of these. So like I felt like it was very apples to oranges. Because on like some of them, I love both albums for different reasons. So to pick one winner, it was just like I have to create. It's like, what criteria do I really create? Because I think that they exist in two different things, and I think my ears work like that too. Like I could know something's not for me, but know why it's good, and so that also was like I spent a lot of hours on this.
Good. I'm happy. I'm happy that it took up a lot of your time because that's what I wanted to do. Like I first when I was making the bracket, I was like, oh, okay, I can just make 4 categories. Want to be soul, want to be classic R&B, want to be group albums. And I was like, nah, I want to get chaotic. I want to see, like, I want to find out, like, who you really like. Because sometimes, like, you know, it could be 2 projects that you really like, and then you find out how much you like one project more than the other when you have to choose. I found
out my biases real early. So I had to work through those because I wanted to be fair.
Yeah,
good.
Same. In my process, too, like, there's albums that I really sat with, you know, indies, and then there's ones that I passingly, you know, listened to in the past, like listened to before. So I didn't want to just pick off favoritism. I had to like go revisit some of these and like really kind of break it down, you know? That was tough.
It was interesting though. I had like a really fun time. I think in the first round, my favorite one that I really had to go back and forth on was 1 in a Million versus Sade's compositions.
You have to go back and forth on that?
I did.
Oh, that's crazy.
You had to think about it? You were like Sade immediately?
I feel like what I also thought about was like the cultural resets and shifts. And so I gave that prominence too. Like the modern R&B that I could draw directly back to some of these, I gave them like whatever. But I am not a compositions fan per se. I think it's a good project. I think vocally it showed that like she has no peers in that. I love the jazz references, but to me it's very slow and like
okay. So
and for me that was just like it wasn't. To put it up against 1 in a Million. It was like this is not fair.
I picked 1 in a Million because like I lived with 1 in a Million longer. 1 in a Million was a project that like I've been listening to since I was a kid
in real time.
But compositions I started listening to as an adult because as a kid, like I was just like, yo, like, you know, I didn't want to relax when I was a teenager. I didn't want to relax in my early 20s. So like I didn't like have that until like later years to appreciate Sade's catalog. But I just also felt that like what One in a Million did kind of, you know, did a little bit more. Some people might not agree with me. Some people might say that slow shit is for them, but they should make their own bracket.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was just a weird pairing for me because I was like,
Hey.
you taking this futuristic genre bending thing and comparing it to something that's very traditional and drawing from the past. So I thought it was like, I was just like, damn, fuck, these are both very good for what they are, but like.
But I think even the style, I think what I like about the bracket though was that it blends those worlds and it kind of strips it to the simplicity of this is all R&B. You know, I think that's at the head of it. So it's like, for me, because like you, I tend to categorize music in a different way, right? So, but when you have it like this, it forces you to just realize that these are all R&B albums, and you need to just see what you like best. You know.
One album that I had to. So this is going to be funny. I knew all of the popular songs from this album, but I never knew who the names of the artists were and the names of the album. Pronounced 𝘉&𝘉.
You didn't know the album?
No, I knew the records and I knew the songs. I didn't know their name.
Oh.
Like I never, because like they weren't like, unless like you were like at like watching the box like every day. So when I was a kid, like I watched BET, I watched MTV, but I didn't watch the box, right? So a lot of their videos came on the box. Like they came on BET, but like rarely. So I just didn't think about it. So I didn't retain it. So when I was doing my research, I was like, pronounced 𝘉&𝘉. I don't remember that. And then I looked at the track list. I'm like, oh shit, this is who made these songs. Like, I'm like, okay. But that was like a favorite. Like I went and revisited that album. And then I started like bumping it again. I was like, wow, this album is great. So that album in the first round goes against TLC's Crazy Sexy Cool.
Yeah.
And I realized, so one, even though like TLC is very nostalgic for me and I enjoy TLC, that a lot of their well, this particular album was popular for their hit singles, but I listened to their album cuts and I wasn't that thrilled with them. I wasn't that like impressed with them. So for me, in the first round, I picked Pronounced 𝘉&𝘉 over Crazy Sexy Cool.
What about you?
No, I picked TLC.
You picked TLC. Yeah. I just man.
So no, I think Crazy
man.
Sexy Cool. I it goes back to me again for like innovation and like culture pushing.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought about the imagery of these albums and like all of that stuff too. And I think Pronounced 𝘉&𝘉, amazing project, great deep cuts. Like if you're a real R&B head, this is like something for you.
Yeah.
But I think it didn't have the cultural impact it should have had. Very underrated.
It didn't. It obviously didn't because I didn't even know the name of the group. I just knew those songs for my whole life. And I was like, And I just was like, I'll probably revisit this a lot more than I'll revisit Crazy Sexy Cool.
So I will say I do revisit Pronounced 𝘉&𝘉 more, but I think Crazy Sexy Cool had a greater impact on the culture.
Okay, I don't.
That's why I gave it the
I
win.
think. So did you guys line up any criteria while you were picking? Like as far as, because it sounds like for you, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you went specifically off of what you enjoyed most.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I went off of, yeah.
I did. So the criteria I set up was what I enjoy. I also thought about songwriting and production. I thought about cultural impact, and then I thought about staying power. Okay,
so cultural impact I didn't factor in. That's what I didn't factor in. I factored in what I enjoyed most. I definitely factored in like who produced it, who were writers on the project, and like I just like wanted to like, I'm like, all right, does this feel like what I think R&B should sound like going forward? Like, you know, because certain songs were like of the moment, but certain albums were like timeless. So for me, like that's how I was able to pick my bracket.
Yeah. But for me, I felt like if I went off just what I enjoyed, there would have been no debating. I just would have picked.
Should did it.
Now that wouldn't have been fair because I think everybody would have known what I was going to pick.
I'm just saying, just hey, I mean, I found it. Well, you'll see.
I think for me, I kind of pulled from everything that you guys said, but cultural impact was a really big one for me, and then like the longevity too, and just seeing like how the album that I picked to move forward, like where it stands today, like in in culture, like
Mm.
where it is, how people see it.
Mhm.
Yeah, those were like really big for me. And then if I personally enjoyed it, obviously, you know, I just tried to stick to those.
I don't think there was any project on here that I didn't enjoy, past or present.
Okay. Let me see.
So I think that was one of the good things about the bracket.
Yeah.
I got one that was probably tough. Janet versus Share My World.
That one was tough for me.
So I went with Share My World. I love the Janet album. I like the Janet album and I'm a big Janet fan, but I like the Janet album specifically because it was the first time that she really leaned into like her adulthood in that way.
Mhm.
And for the self-titled album. And it's a long album and it kind of helped her coin being like the queen of like skits. You know?
Yeah, because she was masturbating on them all the time.
Yeah.
So she was doing, she was just touching herself.
And revisiting a lot of these, I was like, yo, R&B albums are short as F now.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yo, like you were getting movies, like hour and 20 minutes and stuff. And the skits too.
But I picked Share My World because I think that's like, you know, outside of like 411, I mean, she got 411 My Life and this, but Share My World was like that amazing hip hop blend all across the board, you know, that I really enjoy. So I went more with like what I think has transcended the fest for that one.
Yeah, I picked Janet for that one just because I thought it was more daring and exploratory than Share My World. I think Share My World gave us the Mary that we know. And I think Janet gave us the Janet that we came to know as an icon.
Okay.
Yeah, I see that too. Because I thought it was something similar to that. But the reason why I didn't go with Janet was because that was the beginning of her doing this. Because she kept doing this. Okay. So like I was like, all right, you know.
Yeah.
One other problem that I don't know if it's a problem or not, but Mariah Carey put out so much music in the 90s, right? And there were certain albums that I had to like pick that were more R&B centric than pop centric. Yeah. And because like she usually would have like one R&B record on, I'm like, shit. So I really, really had to like really try to like be fair and like not like, so like obviously Butterfly, I feel like is like one of those projects that like is kind of like something she hangs her hat on. And I had Butterfly go against It's About Time. And obviously Butterfly won that one, but I was just like conflicted, like,
yeah, same.
Yeah, like I was just kind of like conflicted, like, all right, cool. Like how do I like do this? And then I had Daydream versus Faith Evans' debut album.
And that effed me up the most. I don't know why you did that, but whatever. Because I know that the Lambs love Daydream and like that's the #1 selling Mariah album, but it's not my favorite Mariah album.
Yeah,
because it's very, very, very industry, very pop, manufactured.
It lacks a bit of soul. Like she sings, it's ethereal, like she does all the Mariah things. But for me, that's not an album that I like typically enjoy. I think it has stellar moments, standout moments on it. But so no, I was just like, nah, I don't know why you put this on here.
Yeah,
I think Butterfly's her magnum opus also. But without Daydream, we wouldn't have Butterfly. So
and I went with Faith for that reason. I think Faith is more rugged and more raw. I think the only thing that I would have switched in the bracket would have been having the Faith album go against Share My World, probably.
Wow, you wanted violence, nigga. You talking about me? Like, what?
No, if I would have wanted to see
that's
that.
Like, that's like more
10, 20 minutes.
Because Share My World would have still lost for me. Because I think the thing about...
Wait, hold on. Let's go back to that. Why would you do that?
Because, I mean, I feel like those are both flawless albums. And that Faith album is like...
But like, so early, like, you wouldn't want that to be in the later rounds? Like, if they had to go against each other?
Acting like
I would have wanted
the first round already wasn't stressful.
Yeah.
Nah, that, like, to me, the first round wasn't that stressful. What he just said stressed me the hell out.
Yeah.
That was wild, Reg. When we do the male bracket, then I guess like I'll like, you know, try to be more combat. Like we doing a male R&B one too for the 2000s. So I'm just like, since this dude want to be messy like that, what else? So you want to know? All right. So Reg said this. He said that he doesn't feel that Missy Super Duper Fly belongs with the 32 albums. And what was your reason for that, Reg?
I don't think of it as R&B album. I think Missy is one of those rare breeds that's like, it's hard to put her in just one category like this. I don't know. I just don't categorize it as a rap album.
As an R&B album?
It's sorry, R&B album. So what I would have did is I would have loved to see Tamia on here for Tamia's debut. I would have put Tamia's debut against Brandy's debut.
Versus Escape?
Versus Escape?
Versus Escape's first album?
Well, no, because we got Super Duper Fly versus Brandy's first album.
No, I was just saying like because you were suggesting Tamia, so I was just saying like as another album because that was
or Total.
That was an album that I left off.
Yeah.
Total.
I was listening to that album.
You left that off.
I was listening to that album again the other day, and man.
Yeah.
We could have talked about it.
Yeah.
We could have talked about it, but yeah. So for me, Super Duper Fly is just the more fun version of the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
I knew he was gonna say that.
So, they're both R&B albums with hip hop influence.
I think Miseducation is.
What you about to tell me?
Well, wait. Say what you said again.
It's a more fun version of it. Like that's all it is. It's a more fun version of a Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. It's lighthearted. It's fun.
I'm not mad at that.
It's not a serious like Missy's message wasn't like as serious and direct as Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So that's what I'm saying. Like that. Let me further explain. Like where Missy, like you could tell like all right, she's a hip hop kid and she can sing. So along those lines, like that's what Missy did, and like Missy played with like sounds and like music and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's still like in the same wheelhouse because like it's based in hip hop and it has R&B, but Lauryn had a message to get across. That's the only difference. So that's why I say it's more fun and lighthearted what Missy did. But it's just like when I hear somebody say Super Duper Fly doesn't belong, I'm like, I'm open to that, but then that means we gotta look at Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
I don't think so. I think Miseducation of Lauryn Hill has more R&B. Even though it has hip-hop undertones, it is more R&B than Super Duper Fly. Yeah. I do think that Super Duper Fly is genreless. I think it broke every mold of what a genre is and can be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that like if you look at 1 in a Million and the stuff that Missy was doing on there, it took that further. So I wouldn't say that it's not R&B. It has R&B in there, and I think a lot of what Missy does is rooted in R&B.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're comparable for real. Like,
yeah. But would you call Super Duper Fly an R&B album?
I would call it a Missy album.
What would you call it?
That was also the one that I thought didn't belong here because I was just like.
So what would you call it? What would you call the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill?
I think this is unfair to compare to the rest of these because I think a lot of these touch on the standard of what R&B is and the foundation of R&B.
What would you call the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill?
I would call that an R&B album.
She only raps. She only has one rap song on there.
Yeah.
Like full through and through rap song, and that's Final Hour. Final Hour is a through and through rap song on there.
Didn't it win Best Rap Album? It won Album of the Year, but it also won Best Rap Album.
Yeah, but just though she won Best Rap Album on and it's a mixtape, right? Are we gonna categorize
you're talking about with Regg. Okay, Regg. Like, all right, it's a mixtape. Chance the Rapper won because it's mixtape too, but like I'm talking about like the genre. We're not talking about like how it's being physically presented.
Shouldn't be the Grammy standard.
That's my point.
He's saying.
Yeah.
Now, like, all right, if I don't ever want to hear you use this person has a Grammy award, I'm gonna remember this.
When is that in my language? Sound like me?
I just want to. I feel like it do sound like you, but I want to make sure.
Miseducation is an R&B album.
I think it's a Lauryn album,
but it's her only album. Like technically, we're not gonna count the Unplugged and all the other stuff.
Okay.
So I don't.
And you wanna know what? Fuck you, FYE. I bought that album on CD when it came out, and they sold me 2 discs once, and they never replaced it, and I'll never fucking forgive them for that shit.
That's why they not
fuck you, FYE.
Now.
That's why y'all out of business now.
So I don't like the Miseducation. Okay, Miseducation is like my favorite album of all time.
Mm-hmm. It's a great album,
and I think. I wouldn't compare, like, it's an R&B album. And I also want to say, like, Lauryn Hill is probably the best rapper singer that ever existed, ever. But I think when she's actually in her singing bag, because she can sing, that dominates.
Okay.
Right? Whereas like someone else, it feels like talking, singing. So like even on Writings on the Wall, right? And like how after that came out, Candy wrote all of those like Bugaboo and Bills Bill Bills, and Beyonce was like singing fast, like speaky speaky, and then that became the standard. Like everybody was singing fast after that, right? So like that's what I'm saying is like when she was singing, she was singing. She gave us gospel. She gave us all the things that are rooted in R&B. She gave us blues. She gave us heartbreak. She gave us womanhood, motherhood, and I think that is that. So I think Super Duper Fly is a Missy album because Missy blended all of those things. She didn't just stick to the one thing. Where I think on songs you heard Lauren sticking to either singing or bringing in that like.
Okay.
So
are y'all voting that Super Duper Fly gets replaced with something else?
That would be my vote.
Piece of shit.
That'd be my vote. I'll put Tamia debut on there. I think that was a really good debut, and yeah.
It was a good debut, but what I thought was missing here was more groups. Like I thought it was unfair that like some of these group albums were up against solo artists. But yeah, I was like, yo, the total album's not on here, which I thought was crazy. Because I really enjoyed that album to this day.
Which total album though? Which one?
Give me the name, Regg. Because I know
the debut. I just know "Tell Me" is on there, and I fucking love that song, and the song with the Brat.
Okay, so the debut album.
Yeah, the debut.
Not Keisha.
Nah,
the debut. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I also wouldn't have put "Do You Wanna Ride" on here.
Really? With Adina Howard?
Adina?
That was Adina, nigga. Adina.
That was easy.
So not that I don't think it's a good album, and I think, she was like one of the first women in this genre that we saw express her sexuality and be raunchy and do all the things and do it well and still could sing and like whatever. But to me, it's not a timeless project. And so I was like, this is unfair to her because you put her up against all these other projects that I think are timeless. And I think the timelessness was missing in this one. So I wouldn't put it here.
Well, one big thing that I wanted to like kind of like do rank. So obviously that went against the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill in the first round, right? The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, it would be a #1 seed, quote unquote, in college basketball, right? Adina's How You Wanna Ride, not shitting on her, but she would be a 16 seed. So basically you have the best team play against the quote unquote worst team. So that's how I looked at it with some of the rankings. So that's why that happened. So more so it was not about like how matchups work, but in college basketball, it's just like, all right, where are you ranked? So if you're ranked #1, the #1 seed plays the worst team and so forth. So 2 plays 15, 3, and so on. So like that's kind of like how I did it. So that's why like you look at it and you're like, yo, this don't make any sense. But it's just like, the higher seed is kind of gets home court advantage, so they're expected to advance to the next round. But sometimes you have some underdogs that come through and pack a punch. So I just want to stress you out a little bit.
Adina Howard?
What?
Did you pick it?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to see.
I didn't pick it, but I'm just saying there might be somebody that looks at this bracket.
Anybody looked at this bracket and would pick that.
You never know.
Besides Adina herself, like
you never know. You might have some real freaky girls out there. You got to think. You like. I'll be honest with you. There are some women from the South who might pick that Adina Howard album over the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. If there's people that walk around saying that they don't enjoy Drake, enjoy Kendrick, right? And they rather enjoy and listen to Drake. This is kind of a similar argument. So what I'm just saying is that there's some women, I get it, I understand it, but I'm just saying there's some women that feel like Lauryn Hill is like trying to read a book to them. So they don't want to hear it. And they just want to shake their ass and be a freak like Adina. So there's some women that are going to pick that album.
We might have to take a wager on this because I don't know that I don't think nobody would pick that over Miseducation.
I don't think you associate with people that would.
You know me?
I know you well enough. I'm just saying.
Do you see my stories?
I'm just
Do
saying.
you see the things I post? Like, no, I don't know.
I know what I'm saying. You don't associate yourself with people that will pick that
That's what I'm
over
saying.
miseducation.
I need to
So
see
I
the
know.
person.
So I know. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not surprised that you can't believe it. But I'm telling you, as a person that knows many women in the South, they'll be like, "Who gives a fuck about Lauryn Hill and her back to Africa and shit? Like, you know, and her all this spirituality shit. Like, I want to shake my ass on the nigga. I want to get money. Like, I know some women that say that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And we see people say it about Kendrick all the time. Think about it. That man is putting out some of the best music in history, and there are still some people that say things about Kendrick that we can't believe.
There's definitely women that prefer to listen to Sexy Red over Doechii.
I agree with y'all on that. I'm saying I don't know any women that would say, "Do You Want to Ride" is better than the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
I don't think I know a woman that knows this album through and through.
I know there's a lot of women that I know that have never listened never listened to Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Nah, I need to meet these people.
That's interesting.
I went to college in Florida and I was floored. I'll be honest with you. I legit made this matchup because of a group of girls that I went to college with. And they were saying shit like that, like this all the way back then about the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Nah, look at Chrissy. Chrissy's trying to find the words to say something. She keep getting ready to start to say something, then she stopped.
I don't want to bash nobody, but like and this is what I'm saying. No, and I'm not, and because like I'm a very free woman, like, you know, like, but whatever. I'm cussing me out about something I posted, so I'm not going to get too fresh on here. But I'm just saying, we talking like music, like musically.
Yeah,
I don't know how anyone could pick Do You Want to Ride over the music. Like, there are current R&B stars that have this fucking album tattooed on their body. Like, come on, be for real.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
Okay, so one matchup that stood out to me that I thought was interesting was Writings on the Wall versus Toni Braxton.
Who did I pick for that?
That was really interesting.
I picked Writings on the Wall.
Hold on. Did I? So did I.
I picked Toni Braxton.
You picked her, like, so you like Toni Braxton? Oh, well, I'm sorry. So I'm about to switch it up a little bit. You like Toni Braxton more than you like Secrets?
No.
Okay.
Secrets, I like Secrets better.
You like Secrets better?
Yeah. But Toni Braxton, man.
Wait,
is that Breathe Again is on Toni Braxton?
Breathe Again is on Toni Braxton, yes.
Just Another Sad Love Song is on Toni Braxton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, that clears for me.
Okay.
That was a great album.
Okay.
Writings on the Wall was good too.
This one was hard for me.
Yeah.
I ended up picking Writing on.
It wasn't hard for me.
Yeah, it wasn't hard for me either. I picked Toni Braxton.
It wasn't hard for you to just pick Toni? No.
3 plus 5, 8.
Yeah, straight up. I picked Toni Braxton.
No. I'm telling you, Writings on the Wall.
You like sad song, Reg? Is that like your go-to?
Not really, no. But
Reg's a sad ass.
It's a sad song. Nah, not even. I think also one of the things that couples it is that I group it with is like, I remember my mom playing it all the time.
Okay.
Right?
Nostalgia.
Yeah, so partially is that. And then I also just think that Toni Braxton is so underrated as an R&B singer. And for how she came onto the scene, the Boomerang soundtrack, into this album, the connection with Babyface, and it's it's a damn near flawless record, you know, for her debut. And she had like 5 successful singles from this album. I just think it just clears. The Writings on the Wall was great too, though. So it was
great enough.
This was one of the ones that was hard for me. But I ended up essentially just going with Writings on the Wall.
All right. And after this one, we will finish up with the first round, right? So how did y'all feel about Waiting to Exhale, the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack versus Love Deluxe?
That was also another one. Oh, this first round was hard for me. You talking about these were supposed to be easy because I was just like, the hell going on
Love
here?
Love Deluxe is my favorite Sade album.
Like, I was like, this is the ones when I text you and I was like, this is hard, where I kept changing my answer. Because I was just like, yo, like,
so you
Love Deluxe.
So Reg, you picked Love Deluxe over Waiting to Exhale?
Waiting to Exhale.
I picked Waiting to Exhale too.
Okay.
But it was really, tough.
Because I think it's hard to make a movie soundtrack in general, but hard to make one that is as cohesive and community driven as what Babyface did.
Yeah, and I couldn't pick. That's like one granted it's Sade, but then that's like the Avengers on Waiting to
Yeah,
Exhale.
that's how.
That everybody is on that album, and then it's so concise and it's written all by this, the king of R&B is what I call him. It's written by Babyface. It's like it's just so concise. The structure of it is amazing. I just couldn't go against that.
King of R&B.
You didn't pick?
Yeah,
I thought you were
not.
You picked Waiting to Exhale also?
Yeah, of course I did.
Okay.
Yeah, but he just wants to debate the king.
I don't want to. I didn't say anything. I stopped myself.
But
we'll talk about that another day.
Yeah. King of R&B.
The king. Okay.
Who's the queen of R&B?
Who is the queen of R&B? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, wow. All right. Listen, I don't want a bunch of
We can get to that at the
bumblebees.
end. Yeah,
I don't want a bunch of bumblebees spamming us, Reg. Chill out. All right. So in the second round, right, we had some albums that like really did well. So, obviously, What's the 411 beat Soul of a Woman in the first round for you guys, right?
Yes.
Okay, so with the Soul of a so What's the 411 made it to the second round against Writings on the Wall for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about for Reg? Okay, so me and Chrissy, we have the same. Reg, you put Tony Braxton up against What's the 411?
Yeah.
So which one made it to the?
What's the 411?
What's the 411? Won that for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for me, in that second round matchup, Writings on the Wall beat out What's the 411?
What's the 411 beat out Writings on the Wall for me?
And
I had to go back to, as I said earlier, Mary birthed what then became, I think, Writings on the Wall.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like the spectrum of like without What's the 411, you probably wouldn't have had something like.
And I don't like because I have My Life and Share My World. I don't enjoy What's the 411 that much.
Okay.
So I don't hold the What's the 411 in that high. Like I know what it did, but because I have My Life.
So no, Share My World is my favorite Mary album.
Yeah,
but
mine
just
too.
based on its bracket, and you effed up my life. That's how
I didn't try to F up your life.
Yeah, that's how it had to play out.
That's how it had to play out.
Like
so
once I got through the first round, I had to kind of remove my own personal opinions on like what I loved more because I wanted to be fair. Yeah. I want to be as fair as possible.
Even in all the eliminations, everything. What kept playing in my head was the Wesley Snipes meme from New Jack City, where he's like this with the
okay. So Reg, who went to the next round in that bracket for you?
From which one?
The one we just sold. For you, it would have been Tony Braxton versus What's the 411?
Oh, What's the 411?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you and Chrissy are in agreement that What's the 411 event. So I'll fall back and concede to what you guys said, right? So then, in the next part, it's so did both you guys have Share My World beat out Janet?
I did, but she didn't. She had Janet advance.
Okay. And then in that other bracket, it was Never Say Never versus Precious. I'm pretty sure everyone picked Never Say Never.
Yes.
Right? So I have Never Say Never versus Share My World. Where were you at with that, Reg?
I picked Share My World.
Wow. Okay.
Even though I see the Never Say Never is like the Brandy album for like the introduction of like, oh, I never heard Brandy before. That's the album I would give them. It's either that or Full Moon, but I hold Never Say Never in higher regard.
Okay. And
so it's tough.
For your bracket that round, Chris?
Where we at?
So Never Say Never versus Janet for you.
Yes. I picked Never Say Never.
Okay. I picked Never Say Never in that bracket as well. So that advanced to the next round for me. Where's one? Okay. So on the other side of the bracket, I have My Life versus The Velvet Rope. So in the second round,
I have My Life versus.
You don't tell me you picking the Sting over the Velvet Rope. You picking the Sting over the Velvet Rope?
Simone, I'm reading my papers.
Okay.
I picked.
No, I did not. You're so rude. So I picked the Velvet Rope.
Okay. So for y'all, like, so who gets out of that round for y'all for the Velvet Rope in My Life?
I have to say the Velvet Rope because that started my love for whisper singers, and like now I just love whisper singers. Even though I love more efforts that could blow, but like
that is so funny.
Shit. Yeah.
Okay.
They're both really, really, really important albums. 𝘙 and 𝘉 did so much. It's just a timeless album. But yeah, I went with My Life.
Okay, cool. I went with My Life too. Yeah, sorry, Deborah Cox. Deborah Cox didn't stand a chance.
Yo,
in the first
bro, I
round.
was like, no offense, Deborah Cox. I think that album is good, but I was just like, that was unfair.
That was a good album.
That was
Okay.
unfair matchup for sure.
So let's see. So I have 𝘚 versus Funky Divas.
I have that's on that thing.
Yeah, and I have 𝘚ism advancing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Too.
I have 𝘚ism advancing. 𝘚ism like went pretty far, right? For me, 𝘚ism went pretty far. Let's see another one that I had up here. So, this one was a goodie. Faith versus the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
That one was hard.
You said Faith versus Miseducation?
Yeah, that's what I had.
Miseducation.
Miseducation.
Yeah.
That's not. That wasn't hard.
No, it was hard. I picked Miseducation, but it was hard. The thing that I love about the Faith album is I love when you can hear the church in a singer.
Mhm.
And I think Faith does that so well. And especially on this album because like the title and everything and like the songwriting, like, yeah, we know it's about her love life, but it was like, yo, this feels very churchy and gospel.
Yeah.
Like even on Come Over, like you hear the inspiration from the Clark sisters. Like I think her and what's her name, Chucky. I think this album was like amazing, and so it was really hard for me. Like this is I'll probably give Lauren's album a 10 since it's my favorite, but I would give Faith like a 9.8. Like yeah, I love both of the albums, so it was really hard, but I have to go with Lauren.
All right, so now it's going to get tough. I'm going to ask you guys what's your final 4 albums.
The Miseducation.
Yeah, we know that. All right, so I'll say mine. My bad. So I have The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, Never Say Never, My Life, and the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack as my final 4.
So yes, I have The Miseducation. I have Waiting to Exhale. And I left the other 2 on because this is confusing me now.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm reading this. So I have.
So your final 4 is what's the 411? What's this one say?
Miseducation.
So Lauryn Hill, My Life,
and 𝘚ism.
So the only.
Just so I can see how it's stacked
Yeah.
So yeah. So the final 4 is these, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
It was 1 in a Million.
You had 1 in a Million make it that far? Goddamn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then over here, it was Writings on the Wall. And then over here, it was Never Say Never.
Okay. So, of the, we have like our final 4 projects, right? So I feel like the final 4 projects like say a lot about like a person when I was thinking about them, right? So like for me, like, My Life was when I knew I was gonna have My Life every Sunday when my mom was cooking and cleaning and stuff like that and doing everything, getting stuff ready. Like that album felt very much like a at home album. I felt like everybody like had like a person, if you're a person of color, it was like a universal experience. Like the way like you heard that project, the way you listened to that project, probably like even the memories. Like I feel like most of our mothers cleaned while this album was playing and stuff like that, right? The Waiting to Exhale soundtrack like was something that was very familiar to me because I remember like when that movie came out, like my mom read the book. My mom like her and her girlfriends had like a watch party and I like snuck out my room to see like parts of it. And they were like, "You can't watch this, you're too young." And then like knowing like, oh man, like this album has multiple artists, but it's streamlined. Like it's like it was like, oh, this is like what an album should sound like. Besides that, up until that for R&B for me, it was like Songs in the Key of Life and like Thriller. Like where like that, like as a child, like when I was like learning about music and stuff, like what I really enjoyed. Never Say Never is probably just one of like the best like R&B albums, like just period, like by Brandy. Like she is the, what do they call her? The R&B, the vocal Bible. The vocal fucking Bible. And then The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is just like that unicorn of a project. it's Thriller. I can't wait till my kid gets older, like when Bean gets older, and like I could talk to him about the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, like how my mom talked to me about Thriller.
And then you're gonna be tight when he'd be like, okay, well, what else has she done?
I don't think he's gonna do that.
Tro did it.
Tro did it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Tro's generation alpha like my kid is.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so no.
So what else?
He also is very musical because I play music all the time. He's learning to play drums, and so he's in his like phase where like he understands who an artist is, and so like he really loves Beyonce. So like, but he likes like R&B Beyonce. Like,
right. Okay.
So he'll be like, "Oh, could we listen to more of this person?" So when I listen to the education all the time, and he's like, "Oh, could we listen to other stuff?" And I'm like, "Oh, we can listen to Unplugged, but like, what really can I play you?" And he's like, "She doesn't have more than one album." And I'm like, "No." And he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Wow.
It happens. I think it happens.
Wow.
Like when this came out? Wow,
Yeah.
98? Wow, nothing else since?
And he's 7, so it's gonna happen.
Okay. I guess I have to like really present it to him. But shit, okay, that's a good valid point.
Especially because all of their content is available to them.
Okay.
In that one city.
I know exactly how I'm going to present it. I already thought about it. I know exactly how I'm going to present it. I'm an actor. If you go to acting class, right? James Dean is pretty much like, it's like James Dean, like Marlon Brando, Lee Strasberg, but like James Dean pretty much only made only one movie came out while he was alive, and then his 2 other movies came out posthumously, and they were nominated for Oscars. And like James Dean was pretty much like the poster boy, the vote like of acting. Like there's certain acting classes that I go to that they still talk about what James Dean did. He was only 24 years old. So I'm going to take that route to talk to my son. Huh?
So Biggie, you can use Biggie too.
See, I was just trying to tell people I act.
Okay.
But, but yeah.
That went over my head because I had to really think harder. I don't know why people by the name, so I thought who James Dean was for a second. But I got
it's okay.
Thing.
Yeah.
The man, he got that picture where he's like peeing on I don't know what he's peeing on, but it's a very popular picture.
Of James Dean.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So with that all right. So we listed out our final 4s, right? I want to know how you guys got to your final 2. Like, and just talk about those matchups. Like, so.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first?
Yeah. So my final 2, I got Miseducation versus My Life.
Okay.
And I think they're both really, really polarizing albums in my opinion. Miseducation is more so recognized. I think I'll put it this way. I think My Life would probably be recognized in the same way as Miseducation if it was MJB's only album.
I think she should have fucking stopped.
Yeah, I think since she kept going, people see her albums as great, especially the early work, but it doesn't get revered in the same way. And they're from 2 very different types of women, 2 different types of experiences, right? So like, it was kind of interesting doing this bracket because when you're doing brackets like these, you don't know what you're leading up to. You kind of just boom, 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 and then it kind of just plays out the way it does. So it was cool for me to see these 2 go head to head because they're such polar opposites. And I would have felt this way if Baduism ended up with My Life, 2 different types of experiences. But having Miseducation in My Life is my final 2.
Okay. What about you?
My final 2 is Miseducation and Never Say Never.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard because I think Never Say Never, as I said before, was one of those albums that to me, I wouldn't have got all the R&B I love now if Never Say Never didn't exist.
Yeah.
And the same kind of for the Miseducation. But at that point, when I got to the last 2, I like all my biases came forward because I was just like, if I take all of the criteria I put down into effect, I'm gonna be stuck because I think they're on par with each other in a way in terms of like being foundational and important to R&B. So it was hard for me in that regard, and I enjoyed both of them. Like Lauryn Hill's is my favorite because I think the writing is a little bit different. I'm more poetic, so like for me that is a little bit better. But when it came down to it, I picked Lauryn Hill because to me that also is when I came to the final 2, I thought about, I guess, the reverse of you. Taurian on like you talking about like the nostalgia for like what your mother played. I thought about the first album that I played for Retro when he was able to like something, and I was like, oh, like we actually played Full Moon before Never Say Never.
Full Moon is that shit too.
And that's also because I know that he likes that type of production more. But
Okay.
when it was time to like, oh, you like music? Okay.
Dark Child.
I played, he loved Dark Child.
Yeah.
But I played The Miseducation, so that's how I kind of picked that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, my final two was let's see. Never Say Never versus My Life. Never Say Never beat the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Explain that to me.
Never Say Never to me is arguably the one of the best albums, like, period. So I just connect with that album a little bit more than the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, like, obviously, like, I live with that album. My mom played that album a lot, but it's like sometimes, like, I'm not in the mood for that album. I'm always in the mood for Never Say Never.
Okay.
I could always listen to Never Say Never at any given time. So it's not like both of them are like great albums, but I feel like when Never Say Never, like, it's kind of like let's say if I was like a music teacher or teaching like vocal, I'd be like, listen to Never Say Never.
Yeah, Brandy is top 2 vocalist to me in my opinion.
And and I think that, and then so for me with My Life beat out the Way to Exhale soundtrack. That was hard for me because, well, let me tell you something. Way to Exhale, #1, is one of my favorite movies ever. I watch Way to Exhale every year as a tradition for New Year's Eve, because a lot of people don't know that movie is a New Year's Eve movie. I love that. I love that movie more than women love that movie. Like, seriously, like, I'll be like in there like, you piece of shit, you are trash. Like, I hate men. I'll be watching that shit like that. Like, I love that album. I love that movie. I love that soundtrack. So with that being said, I had Never Say Never clear my life. And for me, in my 90s bracket, Never Say Never is the ultimate 90s female R&B album. So that was my champion.
That's solid. I can't.
No, it's fair.
Yeah, I can't argue that at all. I mean, it's Never Say Never. It was really hard for me, but I picked Miseducation. I think it encompasses everything that you said about Never Say Never for me. Except obviously, I don't think Lauryn Hill is as great as a vocalist as Brandy. I think that's where Brandy takes it. But I think musically, I have everything on here that I look for in an R&B album. I have a classic duet. I got some love on here. I got some underlying messaging that kind of just transcends. You got your hip hop elements. It's just great. It's just like I played Miseducation the other day again, just like ran it through, and I'm like, damn, like this is still. There's nothing about this that says 1998. Like, it's just of any time that you play it in.
That's dope. I love that. Like, sometimes it's always interesting to me when an artist says like, yeah, I had that song for 5 years. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then they put it out like at the time, and I'm like, oh man, that's great. That's a testament to me. Like, I love when artists can do that. Like, if you can just hold on to it. Like when Beyonce said that she was doing that for like this, for this project that she recorded Act 1. Yeah, that she started recording Act 1 in like 2017. I was like, what? How'd you know?
It's crazy. Yeah, like, so, yeah, Miseducation, it kind of makes me upset when people say Lauryn Hill is overrated. Because it's like, I get it. I get why they would say that, because it's one album, right? But this album, it just, like, she does everything so perfectly. I don't think we've had a female musician that plays on both ends.
What's the flaw?
Some of the skits blow mine. I don't care about them.
Okay.
I like the school, like the schoolhouse shit. I don't give a fuck about that.
Sorry. Fuck them kids. I don't think we have an album that plays both sides of R&B and rap in this way. Like, so good, you know. Like, we have female artists that are rappers and singers, but they're not as good on both ends as this.
Not
Missy?
No,
nah.
You should put some respect on.
I love Missy, but she's not a
misdemeanor. Elliot's name.
She can't be in a powerhouse vocalist conversation.
Missy?
No.
Missy sings just as good as Lauryn.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
so now you're saying Missy can't sing, right?
Not saying she can't sing.
Yeah, I didn't say she can't sing. She can't sing as good as Lauryn Hill. She's a good singer. She can carry a note.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Chris, so you Miseducation Lauryn Hill wins the entire bracket for you. Miseducation Lauryn Hill wins the entire bracket for you. For me, it's Brandy's Never Say Never.
Yeah.
And I can't even be mad at that because I think that is an amazing album.
It's a really, really great album.
I think if I didn't love the Miseducation to the level that I loved it, because I think it also hits on it hits on the nostalgia, it hits on the timelessness. Like I play that album like every day still. It hits on my love for both R&B and rap. It hits on the pro-Black messaging, even though I think it's kind of hotepish now in my older age. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is how my mom had the Birds and the Bees talk with me, and I have this whole essay about it. My mom was a teenage mom.
Mine too.
So when I was like, whenever this came out, I don't know what, I think I was like in 5th grade or something, whatever. I was 10. So yeah. And I was running around the house singing about that thing, like singing it down. And my mom was like, "Oh, do you know what the thing is?" And I was like, "Nope." And then we had the whole conversation. And I was just like, damn.
Damn, Mom.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, my mom moved my little childhood a little bit. But, you don't want your kids to do the same thing you did. But so like it hit all of those things for me and I still enjoy it. And like that's one of the things where like, when I listen to music with my son, like I know that he's not getting some of the stuff because he'll ask me questions like, "Oh, what is that?" Or like, "Oh," like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's old. But like you said earlier, like we listen to this and he's not asking me about those like references. It's just like him enjoying the music. So yeah.
I get it. And like I said, like I think all of this is like a social experiment. Like it makes you find out like what like a person like holds near and dear. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna have the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill winning this bracket. But I hope that there's some people that stand strong and put Never Say Never.
No, I think it goes both ways. I think some people would pick Never Say Never.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think people. Nah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people. I really feel like Baduism for a lot of people is going to be the album that like really like kind of like clears and goes through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Baduism is probably going to do really well for some people. I think My Life is probably going to go really far for some people. Let me think. Like, what else might go really far for some people? Shit, I got a feeling that some people going to have fucking Butterfly like go. Like, I could be mistaken, but I feel like some people really, really gonna pick Butterfly to like go far. I want to find the person that's gonna like say that Miss Thing or like Deborah Cox goes far.
Miss Thing is a really good album.
It's good, but she's like 15, bro.
So I mean,
I also think it's.
So you think Dallas or you think Dallas Austin was wilding writing that album?
No, I just don't. For me right now, I can't rank that album. I can't carry that album that far with her being so young. And yeah, I just can't do it. It has nothing to do with like, I'm not trying to like put anything on his jacket or anything like that.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
I'm just saying as far as like, I can't take it that serious amongst all these other powerhouses. It was just impressive that her voice was that great and that and the songs were really good, but I can't carry it. And
let me see. So Angie Stone's Black Diamond. Like, how did you like? We didn't talk about that. R.I.P. Angie Stone.
Yeah.
Like, cause that was a first round versus Secrets.
Yeah, it didn't have a fair shot.
Didn't.
Secrets is
cleared, and I love Black Diamond.
Black Diamond is good too.
Okay. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I enjoyed stressing Chrissy out.
This was crazy.
I have fun. Like this was actually really fun. It just got me to thinking. I'm so sorry. Last month was Women's Month, and like this is when we should have put this out. But better late than never.
Yeah.
You know,
shows we're not just thinking about women only in 1 month.
Yeah, you know, we're not only thinking about. Yeah, you know, we think about women all the time.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah. So take us home, Reg.
Yo. So let us know what you think, what we got wrong, what we got right. We want to hear it all because you're going to tell us anyway.
Yeah.
I'm First Class Reg.
I am Taurian B.
And we're out of here.
Catch you guys next time. Dun dun.